What's up, guys? Welcome back to today's episode of The Sports Sermon. We are brought to you by Scooch, the most functional phone case on the market. Check out ScoochCase.com to get yours today and use the code SPORTS18, sports with a Z, of course, to get a 10% discount on your order. Stay tuned till the end for a special Scooch giveaway as well. But now, today's episode. So we're here today to talk about the Toronto Raptors. They made a big trade getting Kawhi Leonard, but before we get into that, I want to make sure you guys know where you can find the show. You can find it on Soundcloud, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, of course. Make sure you go subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'll get into why that's important more later. But I'm Jason Gandhi. I'm with Dylan Staggy today. Just us two. We're going to talk about the Raptors. We talked about the Kawhi trade a little bit, but we're going to get more into that now, along with just a preview for the Raptors. So make sure you check all that out. But now, Dylan, let's talk about the Kawhi trade. The trade was Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green for DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a top 20 protected first-round pick. What were your initial thoughts on the trade for Toronto?
Yeah, I love the move for Toronto. I thought it was great because, we've seen Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan continuously fail in the playoffs, and these guys are getting older too. So eventually a rebuild was going to need to happen. So this is either going to accelerate it, or you've got a top 5 player potentially in the NBA in Kawhi Leonard to stick around if he wants to re-sign. Obviously it was a snake move against DeRozan after apparently they told him that he was going to be able to stay and he was not going to get traded. But I think it just makes a lot of sense for their franchise.
Yeah. For me, I agree. I absolutely love it. They got a transcendent talent that is franchise-altering. It took this team to an entirely new level. One thing I do want to mention about this trade before we go away from the trade is, did you see that latest headline that they missed a torn groin on Danny Green? The Spurs medical staff is literally horrible. After the Spurs being so good for so long, how do you miss a torn groin? How do you play with that all year?
That's insane.
Horrible. So, it's just so disappointing that the Spurs have now. These are guys' careers. This isn't 2K where it's it's no big deal. These are guys' careers they're playing with, and you just hate to see that. But Dylan, the Raptors traded DeRozan. They fired Dwayne Casey. Was this a franchise shift that was necessary, and were you surprised they did it?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's definitely necessary because, with Lowry and DeRozan, you just couldn't get over the hump in the playoffs. I think you could say that about Dwayne Casey too, but I don't like that you hired Nick Nurse after that. You've got to find a bigger name and a more proven coach if you're going to go all in this year with Kawhi Leonard.
But you think that was the plan when they hired Nurse? Because remember, they hired Nurse before they got rid of DeRozan.
You have to think that was at least something talked about, and regardless if you have Kawhi or DeRozan, if either one of them's there, you're going to be competing this year, and you know that it might not be much longer that you have to be a competitive team in the East, because this team is just one bad season away, one more playoff failure and a Kawhi Leonard leaving away from blowing this whole thing up. So I think you've got to have in the plans, at least, if you want to fire Dwayne Casey, to get a bigger name to help you try and compete this year.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised they made the trade. I did not think they would have the guts to do it, but I didn't think it was necessary either. I thought Lowry and DeRozan would be fine now that LeBron's out of the East, but I'm intrigued to see how it all plays out. Did they get better? They definitely downgraded at coach. They definitely upgraded in player. Obviously, it sucks to see DeRozan. It's going to be so weird to see him in a different uniform, and you just hate to see that as a fan of basketball and a fan of these guys. But it is what it is. It's a business like we always talk about, and so you have to just get used to it. It's just going to be so weird, though, and I'm intrigued to see how it all plays out. Kawhi Leonard in a Raptors jersey and DeMar DeRozan in a Spurs jersey. It's just something it's going to take a long time to get used to. But Dylan, my last question, we're rolling through these. They were the best team in the East in the regular season last year. Do you see that happening again, and what are your expectations for the Raptors?
I would say both the Celtics and the Sixers have a little bit more talent than the Raptors, but I would still put them in the same grouping, and they're very close to both. I think Kawhi Leonard changes things in the playoffs, though. we saw DeRozan's game just not really translate to the playoffs that well. I mean, his mid-range jumpers are cool and all in the regular season to help you win games, but you don't want to take those low-efficiency shots in the playoffs. I mean, Kawhi Leonard is probably even better at the mid-range than him. Plus, he can handle the ball, shoot the three. He's more efficient, that's for sure.
Maybe, but if I need one guy who's going to shoot a mid-range jumper for me in the league, I'm going to DeMar DeRozan. That dude is just unreal mid-range. But I'm surprised to see you not liking the mid-range. I mean, I thought DeMar DeRozan, he was good at what he did. It was just, I thought it was more LeBron than it was through individual Raptors guys. I thought LeBron really just, he was the Toronto killer.
You think it's a mental issue or just LeBron's that good?
You see LeBron and you're just, like, they collapsed. It was that mental block. I wanted to see them do it without LeBron in the East. I was really intrigued to see it happen. But now they're still going to be a top 3 team. They're definitely a real contender. I don't know if this move is what's going to get them over the hump. I hope it is, because I'd love to see Toronto in the 6 repping it out in the finals. I think that'd be so cool for the city of Toronto. But I don't know if this was a trade big enough to make that happen. I hope it is. Like I said, I just don't know, because you never have any idea if this guy who has hurt all last year, is he going to be the same player that he was? I don't know. Dylan, do you think that this will be enough to get them to be in the Eastern Conference Finals or the Finals?
I think they will make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and lose to the Celtics, because I think the Celtics are just overall more talented, more deep team. But, I mean, they're definitely in contention, and I think they'll finish second or third in the East, but then in the playoffs, I think they'll be able to get to the conference finals, but just not get over the hump of the Celtics.
But see, then if that happens, is it worth the trade? Like, would they have been any better without? Like, do you think DeRozan would have done anything different?
I think they probably would have lost a round earlier then.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think the trade would be worth it even if they do get to the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think they're more talented on the floor, regardless after this trade. So
yeah. All right. Any last thoughts on the Raptors?
I mean, huge trade for Kawhi. This is going to be just a crazy year for the Raptors. That's just going to decide their future for the next 5 years. So definitely got to watch out this year for the Raptors.
Yeah, I know we're keeping it short. We already talked about the trade is why we're keeping it short. That is on YouTube and all of those already, so go check it out if you want to hear more in-depth about the trade from the Spurs side, the Raptors side, all of that. So we're keeping it short and brief on this Wednesday afternoon, but go check that out. I mentioned Scooch, though. Now let's get into that before we end, because I said a 10% discount. I'm going to give you guys a 15% discount on ScoochCase.com using the code SPORTS18, sports with a Z. But also, if you comment and subscribe, you will get a free Scooch case, compliments of them, obviously, and we will be sending it to you right away. So you have until the month of July to do that. So make sure you comment and subscribe. And Dylan, you know that we love that Scooch case.
Yeah, I mean, the Scooch Wingman is just fantastic. My favorite case on the market right now. The kickstand, you can watch videos if you turn it landscape, hold it up portrait, and scroll through your Twitter feed like I am right now as we finish up this podcast. But, I mean, protection too, it really does it all. Yeah,
I think that I just got to tell you guys, I had a case that I loved for 2 years. I saw this case and I had to get rid of it. I love this case right now. The Scooch Wingman out today. Go get it. We also have a mount for your car that I absolutely love. I have that in my car also. Scooch is where it's at. Go get one. Thank you for listening. Check out our NFL, NBA, college football, fantasy football, and more all on our channel. Thanks for listening. Deuces.